Watching as we're pulled apart, staring I could be the last time. Faces drawn but can't escape, holding on for better days. Fading and ghosts, all empty space, silence between left just a trace.
Hey you guys, hope you're doing good in YouTube world. Today we got the little two-stroke, and let's go talk about why it makes an awesome enduro bike. I want to talk about my build here a little bit. And yes, I know it's a motocross bike. This is steep, by the way. Lots of snow still. Woo-wee. That's a good climb, let me tell ya. Hey you guys, how's it going? I'm Hillclimb and welcome to my channel. If you guys are new around here, I like my old Hondas, as you're about to find out, but today I thought we would bring up one of my favorite two-strokes I own and go over why on earth would you even want a 2001 CR250. So let's talk about my build today and some of the things I've done to it to take it from being stock to pretty much a beast now. So right on, let's get started. So yeah, this thing came to me a couple years ago and it was in, I would consider okay shape. Definitely not great shape, and I took it for a ride when I bought it. It was in the city, so there wasn't a lot I could do. I went up and down the alley a couple times and it seemed good, but when I got it home and I started chugging in low gears, which is what I like to do, I come from, you know, I like the 300, that was my last two-stroke for the mountains, my 300 XCW, and that thing you could lug it down to no RPM at all. So I started lugging this around the mountains and there was a good knock and I knew right away it was the bottom end, it was a crank. So that brings me to today's video, and what I ended up doing, you guys, is pulling the motor out. All three of my Hondas, my XR, my 500, and this, I've stripped them right to the frame. So what I did with this, pulled the motor out. The bottom end was good, gears were good, everything was, I put a clutch in as well. And I ended up splitting the cases and putting a brand new Wiseco crank and piston in it. So it's essentially a brand new motor, so it works really, really well. But that's kind of like, why would you even want an old bike like this? Well, if you guys are new to my channel, like, I like my old Hondas. I've had them all my life. I've had lots of different bikes, but more Hondas than other bikes. So and I've had the best luck with them. I've had zero issues really, like none to speak of. And you know, the reliability of Hondas is just, I mean, it's probably the best out there in my opinion. But I like all my old Hondas, and I thought, well, I might as well build up one of these. And then I threw a 10-ounce flywheel weight as well on there. That gives it more of the KTM lugging ability. Not quite the same, but pretty similar. I mean, I can lug it down in first and chug up hills pretty good, and it'll still rip like a motocross bike. But yeah, it's an awesome, they're great bikes. I mean, it's not a money thing. I mean, I'll probably end up getting a 300 KTM at some point. I'll always keep all my Hondas because they're kind of my go-to bikes. But you know, the electric start is nice for some people. That's a deal breaker. They don't want to deal with this at all. But I mean, it's not a big deal for me. When it's tuned and running good, it starts almost first kick every single time. So personally for me, you guys, I really like, I don't know if you follow my background of freestyle motocross and jumping dirt bikes, but I like my suspension pretty firm because I like to, you know, I like to dive into logs, and I like to, you know, I like to ride the front wheel and do my little stunts and all that kind of stuff. So they already come with a pretty solid suspension, like pretty firm, so you don't need to do any work there. I mean, it might be too firm for some people, like my KTM was really plush, you know, it'd be nice that way. But yeah, so when I split the cases, you guys, I also sent the cylinder out and I had it redone, so it's all brand new in there. New crank, new piston, Wiseco forged piston, so it's nice and tight. It runs good now. I also added an hour meter here, so you can keep an eye on your stuff. You know, motocross bikes don't come with an hour meter like an enduro bike, but yeah, lots of reasons why you would want an old motocross bike for enduro. They actually work really, really well, and being only a 250, you know, most people are on 300s for enduro. They don't quite have that bottom end torque of a 300, but pretty close. I mean, it's not that far off. I was quite surprised, to be honest. And you could go probably even heavier flywheel weights. I didn't look at all the different sizes, but I saw the 10 ounce and that seemed reasonable, just to give it a little more, you know, a little more lugging capability. So works very, very well. Yeah, I also added a hydraulic clutch. I put a Magura on it. I've had those on bikes before in the past. That's another video I should do on my XR, because I get a lot of questions about that hydraulic clutch on my XR, so maybe that'll be an upcoming video. I'll go over how I set that all up. That works awesome, by the way. But I did the same thing with the XR. I really like my hydraulic clutches because it gives you really fine control, you know, like when you're doing your little, you know, enduro type stuff, and I like to do my slow wheelies, so you just have that really fine control. It's just really smooth. I just love them. So that was a huge upgrade for this bike. I still need to add a larger fuel tank, but I mean, it's working fine for me now. I don't go too far from home on this particular bike, so it's not a huge deal breaker for me, but I would like a clear tank so you could see the fuel level. These ones have the black tanks, so they're not very easy to see the fuel in them, but it works really, really well. And then the good old FMF gnarly, that adds your bottom end. And then I got the matching silencer you can see there, the spark arrestor. So yeah, it just works. It works amazing, you guys. I went with an 18 rear wheel too, of course. You need that for off-road. So let's talk about the handling as well. You guys are probably, if you guys have never rode motocross bikes, I mean, any motocross bike handles really good because they're designed to, you know, rail corners on a motocross track fast. A lot of people don't like the early generation aluminum frames, especially the first generation Hondas, like the 97, 98. I think that was the years. They're quite stiff and they're not very predictable. But these ones are a little better, and I don't seem to have any problem with them, but some people don't like them at all, but I actually really like them. They work really well for what I do. I got the same frame on my CR500. I put the motor in this exact same 2001 chassis, and it works so awesome. But yeah, I mean, if you've never ridden motocross bikes, it's like they just handle really precise. The steering, like, I don't know if it's the degree of steering or what it is, but they, you know, you can cut through the woods on them like it's a motocross track. Like, they just feel really inspiring to me anyways. I mean, don't get me wrong, a new European bike with state-of-the-art suspension and, you know, top-of-the-line brakes, it's a pretty nice feeling too. But something about these old Honda motors, like especially this year, the 01s, they bark like crazy, and they'll still chug low, but when you get on the throttle, slip the clutch a little bit, you're gone. And to me, that's just a huge benefit. And then on top of that, having your Honda reliability, it really doesn't get much better than that, in my opinion. So let me know in the comments some of the bikes you guys have built. I'm always interested to hear how your guys' bikes turned out, because I just love turning these old bikes. It's not the purpose was not to ride this in the mountains, but knowing that you can and it works really, really well, to me that's really inspiring, because a lot of my friends are like, why don't you go buy a brand new KTM, or why don't you buy a brand new Beta? And it's not the same experience for me. I mean, sure, I can afford a new bike if I want one. I'll probably get a nicer one day, as well as this one. And, you know, it just gives me pride to ride and be able to keep up, and, you know, even show your friends up on an old 2001 bike when they got a brand new $10,000 or $15,000 dirt bike. And to me, that just makes no sense. But right on, you guys. Share this video if you guys got some friends with these old bikes, and start some comments about your builds. I'd like to hear it. So yeah, you guys, that's going to do it for me. Drop some comments, hit this button here, and let me know what you guys have been up to and how your builds are coming along. Drop some ideas in the comments for videos too. I'm really liking, I've had a few people drop comments, and that's great to hear what you guys want to see. I've got tons of ideas. I can't wait. I can only film so much, but I got tons of ideas. But let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see in particular, and I'll go over it. Right on, bro. Bye.